Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make an informed decision. Well, guys, if you don't want all the information you can absorb that has some merit, both good and bad in your investments, well, you're probably not going to like this channel because I take my investing very serious. And when I go do my research and go down the rabbit hole, I go to the bottom. And it's way deeper than 90% of the people that I've seen out there, if not 99%. Now, I'm going to ask the hard questions, not only about XRP, but about all my investments, and I'm going to share the results with you guys. The biggest hurdle that I have is when you ask these hyped up fake, influencers that act like they know everything, they don't want to have real conversations and they don't want to answer the hard questions. How could they? For instance, when it comes to Ripple and XRP, when you're biased and you're tribal and you've just been pumping your bag and your channel for years, how can you have a conversation about the downside or about the risk? Every time any news comes out about Ripple or XRP, they put on the spin. It's kind of like watching what goes on in the White House because they're biased. Well, I'm not biased. That's my money. So I want to see the good news. I want to see the bad news and everything in between. And I may or may not want your input because I can just take those facts and that information and figure it out on my own. And I highly recommend all you guys learn to invest that way if you want to make a lot of money. Because I believe this is the biggest opportunity in the history of the world coming down the pipe in the next couple of years. And this next bull run is going to blow people away, and the adoption and everything else is going to explode. And the odds are, if you're watching this, you're going to make a good amount of money. This is not financial advice, but the way you make a good amount of money is to understand your risk reward and when to buy more, when to sell, both when to sell and cut your losses, and both when you take your profit. That's why I do the research and I share that with you guys. So half of you guys are going to love this information and love the hard questions, and the other half is going to say, oh, I want to go listen to someone that tells me what I want to hear. So either way, guys, hit the like button or the unlike button and leave your comments down below. And I urge you, if you agree or disagree, ask whoever you follow or listen to, ask them the hard question and listen to their response. Now, I'm going to lay out a couple of scenarios of why I believe that Ripple will create another token for them to use, whether it be with ODL, cross-border payments, CDBCs, or all of that combined. Because I used to work for a corporation called Bear Stearns. They were like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan back in the day. They were a powerhouse mega banking outfit, one of the most powerful in the world. I also worked for a corporation called Tyco, and they were a Fortune 100 corporation as well. And guys, once you understand how major corporations think and how they play the game, it's not like the average person thinks. Because, guys, they put money, the stockholders, and the board in front of everything else, period. And that leads me to what I'm going to lay out if Ripple wins the court case, why in the future they probably will create another token. So hear me out. Now, once you go public, which they are, and guys, I'm very bullish. I can't be more bullish about Ripple if they win that court case. That IPO is going to be explosive, and it might even set records. And I highly recommend, if you are a qualified investor or accredited investor, you might want to look at owning Ripple if they win this court case. Now, what brought all that, before we get into that, I want to tell you what brought all this on. The first thing is I see hyped up BS information every day, and I got to go through it in doing my research, and I waste 5 to 10 hours a week just uncovering whether something is BS. And guys, most of it is they don't have a clue, and it's, you can't call something speculation. Speculation is trying to say XRP will be worth $15, even $35 in the next bull run. But to say that it's going to be worth 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or some of these stupid numbers like $50,000 buyback and all that, that's not speculation, guys. That is just wasting brain energy. It's not going to happen. It's mathematically can't happen. So that's, I don't want to get sidetracked. So hear me out. Once they go public, a couple things are going to happen. David and Brad are not going to be in control. Now, they still may run the place. They still may have a big say in the direction. But once they go public, they're going to answer to the shareholders and the board. Well, the board understands a couple of things, or they will. Well, we make money. They make money a lot of different ways. I love the Ripple business models. Now, just so you know where I'm coming from, when I say I've done my homework, guys, I've studied everything I can about Ripple, the corporation. I've actually went back and probably spent 15 man hours, maybe 20 man hours reading Brad and David's tweets, and a lot, I'm talking hours, going back about 7 years of reading David's Reddit account. It's a wealth of information, and you can see the progression of XRP. You can even see the thoughts and the way they talked about XRP before and after, for instance, ODL. Now, I don't want to get sidetracked. But anyway, I've done my homework. So in the future, when the board realizes, wow, we sell all the XRP up to 1 billion tokens a month. And wow, it's at $3. It's at $5. It's at $10. I want to sell. Let's sell it. Well, they're going to say, well, we can't dump it all, but we can dump $1 billion a month. But someone's going to stand up and tell the board, well, here's the deal. It's kind of a catch-22 because we make money selling our XRP, but we also make probably the most money, at least the most cash flow continuous money off of our escrow account through ODL. Well, guys, I've already thought that through, and I know if I came up with the answer, the board and whoever's running the show at that time is going to know the answer, and they're going to do this. Here's the answer. Well, how can we do both? That's the question. The answer is, well, we can start selling our XRP, and we can create another token. And we can use that token just for ODL, maybe not dilute and scare everyone away, or we can use it for just cross-border payments, or we can just use it for CDBCs, or we can create another XRP and use it basically in place, start just converting it over, or have both of them running equally. We use one for banking, and we use one pretty much for the XRP ledger ecosystem, whether it's the metaverse or smart contracts or whatever. So think about it, guys. You're telling me, and I know not everyone has the same financial background, but guys, if you've ever worked with a Fortune, even 500 corporation, they only care about hitting their quarterly numbers. And that is one way to guarantee a mind-blowing profit. Now, you say, oh, well, why would they sell XRP at $5 or $10? when it's going to go higher if they don't. Well, here's why. They've made as much money as that is. Once they do their IPO, the real money is going to come from that, from the stocks, from Wall Street buying up Ripple shares. Wall Street's not going to own XRP tokens of any big volume to speak of. They may speculate and buy and sell it, but they're not going to buy it and invest in it. But Wall Street is going to really, really be involved in Ripple and buying those shares. It's going to be in probably every smart hedge fund's portfolio. Well, that's where the big money is. Well, the reason they will start dumping those tokens is because if they're not hitting their numbers, for instance, even if it's a mind-blowing profit quarter, let's say they were going to make $10 billion. That's what the estimate was before the numbers come out. And unfortunately, they're going to make $9 billion. Guys, even though that's $9 billion profit, if Wall Street thinks it should hit 10 and they're really wanting 12, the stocks might drop $7, $5, $10, whatever. And the value of the corporation drops, hugely. Or they can just go dump $1 billion worth of tokens and throw it on the bottom line, hit their numbers. Boom. Guys, that scenario, in my opinion, is probably 90% going to come true. But if you disagree, I highly urge you to ask anyone you know. Ask someone in Ripple. Ask David. Ask Brad why they want. I'm all ears. I would love to hear that information. Most people are just going to sugarcoat it, spin it some way that it doesn't have merit. But now here's the other scenario. If Ripple loses, a lot of different things could happen. But if they lose and they only get a fine and they're considered a security, well, that's fine. That means XRP is a security. Let's leave it as a security. We're going to go register that. Or they just shut it down. Either way, that's up to them. I don't know what they're going to do. But here's the worst case scenario. But it would lead them to open another token. They could lose, and the SEC could say, we're going to give you this fine, and you have to buy all the tokens back for, let's just say, $5. Or maybe at the all-time high, because everyone is guaranteed to get their money back if you bought it at the all-time high. Some would make profit, but no one lost money. Maybe they throw in interest. But let's just say it's $3. Let's say it's $4 with interest, all-time high. Well, for Ripple to come up with that kind of money, there's a catch-22. They can easily do it. They could just dump their tokens. Now, I'm guessing they would go do their IPO, take that money, buy out those tokens. Now they have all of XRP, shut it down, do whatever they want. But they could also decide to just create another token and let XRP just be part of the ecosystem to be used on the ledger, the metaverse, or NFTs, smart contracts, whatever. And then create another token to use for the banks. But they can launch it that is legal and not considered a security. So guys, there's multiple paths and multiple reasons of how this could go. But to me, all roads lead to Ripple creating another token, if not multiple tokens. Now, if you think that has merit, let me know in the comments. If you don't think it has merit, look guys, don't say the stupid stuff. I have a new saying. It says, don't hate, participate. Educate me, guys. I don't do what I do to be right. I'm not debating this to insult or anything else. I just want to ask the hard questions, get some answers, get some feedback, so I know how to stack my bags, or if I want to stack a bag or sell or whatever. That's why I do this. So if you're going to respond, please hit me with real world examples of why I'm wrong. If you have access to David, Brad, someone that works at Ripple, ask them, give me that response. I would love that. If whoever you follow, whether it's an influencer or your investment club or whoever, ask them the hard question. Ask some developers if you know them. Ask them why Ripple will not or have or create another token. Ask them if it's possible. Ask them whatever. I I challenge you to do that because guys, I'm going to tell you two different scenarios that just happened that really got my attention of why I want to ask these hard questions. Is I recently met a really big influencer in the crypto community. He is very intelligent, a great guy, very smart, and pretty much an XRP bull. Well, we started talking about a lot of different things, and we brought up the crazy numbers that we hear in the XRP community about how high XRP can go. And I wanted his thoughts on that, and he told me. Well, then I asked him, I said, well, what do you think would happen if XRP creates another token to use for like ODL, cross-border payments or whatever? And he said, wow, I never thought about that. That kind of blew me away. And I'm not here to, say anything bad about him, but it blew me away that anyone would be investing real money into anything and not think about that. Because, guys, I've thought about every single scenario that I could. I lay awake at night, and it's not just about Ripple, it's about crypto, real estate, stocks, you name it. I want to know what are my real risks? What happened if some reason Ripple just got bought out tomorrow? What happened if something happened to the founders? What happened if they quit? What happened if they shut down? I would love to have answers to all that. Quite frankly, that's my biggest hurdle is getting real answers to the questions because people don't want to have the hard uh, questions answered because it's hard for you to shield a project and tell people what they want to hear when the reality is we got the answer. For instance, if Brad came out and saw this video and said, hey, we're going to do that in 3 years. That's always been in the plan. What would happen? See, people don't want to go there. They're terrified. They want to tell you what you want to hear. And I'm not that guy. So anyway, the other thing that happened right after I talked to that big influencer, one of my subscribers reached out to me and said, a lot of people disagree with your thought process. And I'm like, great. And he said, you should, and he named a handful of influencers. He said, you should reach out to them and ask them to debate you on your show. And I said, well, they're not going to debate me because I've kind of have reached out to them and I've sent them some messages and asked some of these hard questions. And guys, they never respond. I've yet to have a real world answer to the majority of my questions. Sometimes I've gotten a few soft answers, but normally the answer is, oh, well, you haven't done your research. You shouldn't talk if you've only read the headlines. Well, guys, if you went down the rabbit hole and you've read 7 years of David Schwartz Reddits, I'm pretty sure I've done more than just read the headlines. And I know for a fact that they haven't, especially the ones that want to tell you that XRP can go to 10,000. Guys, that's like an average number now. 30,000, 50,000, 320,000, 500,000, a million. Well, guys, I'm just going to say this and then I'll stop. If XRP, for instance, happened to just hit $100 in the next 2 years, just 100, forget 1,000. At $100, guess what? Ripple would be more valuable than Apple, the most wealthy, powerful corporation in the world. It'd be more powerful than BlackRock, more valuable than BlackRock. Guess what, guys? Not just more powerful than one of those, both of those combined. That's at $100, guys. So when you start talking about $1,000 XRP or $10,000 XRP, you're talking about Ripple, the corporation, being more valuable than Walmart, Amazon, Tesla, Apple combined. So guys, come on. That's the people you're listening to. And believe me, guys, I don't care who you listen to. This is not financial advice. Do with the information as you will. But I will say this. Be careful who you listen to. And if the majority were right, the majority would be rich. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. If you like this content and you want me to keep asking the hard questions, not just about Ripple, but about anything, let me know in the comments section. If you got triggered and you don't want to stick around, I get it, guys. Hit the unlike button and hey, good luck. I wish you the best. But guys, here's one thing why I don't mind you listening to people that tell you what you want to hear. Now, hear me out, and this is all said with love. Guys, I'm going to unpack all my bags in the next bull run. I'm stacking now and have been. I'm going to sell, for instance, my XRP, no ifs and buts about it in the next bull run. And when it starts to run up, depending on the outcome, but definitely when it starts to get to its old high, I'm going to start unloading. Now, where that ends up, we'll just see what the environment is. But one thing's for sure, in the next massive pump for XRP, I'm talking about, let's just say they come out and win that court case, that spike, that day, it's going to be explosive. I'm getting out of a lot, if not all mine immediately, because I believe that spike could be so big that, like, literally it could run from where it is to right now to $7 in 3 hours. But in 4 hours, it's back down to $2. And it may run again to $5.50, but the big run could have happened right out of the gate. I don't know. It may take 2-3 weeks. My guess is, this is my strategy, not financial advice, and I'm playing it by ear, guys. But in that scenario, I'll buy and sell XRP and trade it for a couple of months, because once they started getting listed, every time, like, let's say Coinbase announces, hey, we're going to list Ripple, and let's say it's a month later, boom, it takes off again. Boom, it takes off again. Well, I'll have bought and sold that thing 5-10 times. I might day trade it. That's just me. I know I'm getting off on a tangent. Anyway, guys, I highly urge you, ask the hard questions, get the answer. If you have influencers or people that are in the know, are supposedly in the know, ask them these hard questions. Hey, I will debate anyone, anytime. But I know they're not going to want to have an open debate with someone like me, because I'm going to ask them how to justify the math at, let's say, $1,000 XRP. And there is no answer. Even a mathematician that is a professor at Harvard, he's going to laugh at you and tell you that there's no scenario, at least in the next, let's just say 10 years. Who knows after that? There's no scenario. And I've noticed that the influencers that have mentioned these bizarre numbers, they're kind of starting to walk it back, because they used to say, like, oh, the next bull run. Well, now they're starting to go, well, in 25 years. Well, dude, I invest, for the most part, 98% of all my investing is for the next bull run. It's not for 25 years. I do have some long-term bags, small ones. That's a different story that I'm going to stack and just forget about. And Bitcoin may never sell. Outside of that, guys, I highly recommend take your profits, and, when something starts to pump, take the profits, go bull run to bull run. As we have seen, you can always get in. Go find right now, do the history. Go find any token that hasn't pulled back in like the last 5 years, at least 75+%. They all have. That's the future, at least probably for the next 2 or 3 bull runs until we get some regulation and stability where, it starts to go down more like a stock. And I tell you, when it's really going to get more dependable and you can start talking about holding on to projects is when, first of all, we know regulation. So we know what we're dealing with. That's got to happen. But once crypto gets so big, and I can't wait, but this is coming. Once crypto gets so big and powerful that we get a bailout, because everything that happened in 2022, if that would have been Wall Street companies, every one of them would have got a bailout. Every one of them. That's the way it works. So that's coming, maybe 5 years from now. But the odds are, once we get regulation in Wall Street and the hedge funds and the pension funds and the average person is in Bitcoin and in crypto projects, and we have a collapse for whatever reason, Uncle Sam's going to click on that money printer and he's going to bail us out, which guess what that will do? It will send Bitcoin to the moon and everything else is going to follow. So anyway, guys, I couldn't be more excited about crypto whatsoever. I'm not here to rag on Ripple, but guys, if any project has merit, like if you ask me a question, you can't ask me a question about a project that I will not create a video if it's worth my time. But if it has merit, I'm going to be able to justify the answer. And if you're following people that are only telling you what you want to hear, well, that's a recipe to get absolutely wrecked. If someone, in my opinion, I'm not ragging on anyone in particular, but if you have a name in your channel, man, think about it, guys. Go ask some of the people that were invested in SafeMoon or in the lunatics. See how that worked out. Guys, a lot of people are learning the hard way. The more tribal you are, the more the odds are you're going to get wrecked. Because guys, I want you to understand something, and then I'm going to let you go, is if I make $1,000 or $1 million with any token that came out of that community, we're all not going to win, right? In 10 years from now, there's going to be two types of people. There's going to be people that go, oh my God, I loved XRP. I made a killing. I sold every pump, or I short sold every pump. Might be this guy. And you're going to have the people that absolutely got wrecked. And you go, how did you get wrecked? It went from, 30 cents to, let's just say, $15. And you're like, oh, well, I thought it was going to $1,000. I thought it was going to $10,000. I thought they were going to do the buyback. That's why I make these videos. Anyway, guys, I know I'm rambling on. Anyway, I'm extremely bullish. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We want you to be part of this community. We're going to ask the hard questions in 2023 about Ripple and every single project out there. I wish someone would have asked the question, for instance, about Terra, like, hey, what happens if it gets knocked off its peg? How does that work? Can it happen? What are the odds? Like if a big influencer with, let's say, millions of followers, why didn't he get a developer on there live and say, hey, man, I'm a lunatic. I love Luna, right? Y'all are going to back your stable coin with Bitcoin. Everything looks great. And it did, guys. The only reason I didn't get involved in Terra was that it rallied so hard and pumped so fast. I was like, well, I'm going to wait for it to pull back, right? And then it never pulled back. It crashed and it was over. And I believe, I can't even remember, I think I bought like $100 once it hit like, less than a penny or whatever it did, just for just to have. Actually, I think I still have it. I'll have to check. I forget. But anyway, guys, that being said, if you have the hard question answered, you'll know if that's the project for you, whether it's Ripple or anything else, and you'll know how much money to put in, and you'll know more about when to sell. Anyway, guys, I'm not always going to be right, but I'll be right here, and we'll figure it out if we can. Give me your input, and guys, do me a favor, hit the like button or the not like button. It's all good. I wish us all the best. Take care, guys.